guys and girls, just about to do this outhouse light fitting. So, this particular pendant's a little bit different from ones I've saw before. Normally you would just grab this and the whole thing would unscrew, but on this particular one, must be a really old one, I've never seen this before, you've got like a little locking tab there. You have to undo that first, and then it will turn. What that little tab is doing is actually holding that centre piece. So I've not seen that before. This must be a really old light fitting, I reckon. I didn't put this one in, this one's been here for ages. Now with all electrics, first thing is checking that it's dead. So got my little lap volt pen. First check this on something you know is live to make sure it's actually working. So that's in working order. Then check the fitting. Now one of the points I was going to make about these light fittings that is very important. You may think, which I first thought the first time I went to work on one of these many years ago, is you don't really have to turn the breaker off and the fuse board. Think to yourself, if the light switch is turned off, then there's obviously no power going to it. That, in actual fact, with these type of fittings, is an incorrect assumption. This, because it's obviously must have been the last light fitting on the ground floor, this one hasn't been fully wired the way you would normally find these. These centre section here with 3 fittings. Normally that's where all your line wire would go into. One of them wires is always permanently live regardless of whether your light switch is turned on or not. Now the only reason this one isn't done like that, I say, is because this must have been the last light on the ground floor when it was wired up. So ordinarily, even with your light switch turned off, this centre block would still be live, so you've got to be very careful of that. With these type of fittings, always turn it off at the fuse board. I did do a bit more detailed description of how these work, I think, on my loft light installation, if I remember rightly. Plus there's even better ones than that if you look on YouTube to understand how these all wire up. Because initially they do seem quite complicated, but once you get your head around how they're done, it's not so bad. But I'd say watch another video where it'll be explained better and where you'll have all the wiring done on this one as it would normally be. Right, I shall disconnect these wires and then crack on from there. Okay, I've got the light fitting off, so I'll just give you a very brief look at what the wires are. So this wire, I know, is the original wire. It's got the old red and black colours. So this is the wire that's actually coming from the light switch. And this second wire is the one that I've run down to the outhouse for the light bulb that's in there. Now if this were wired up as you would normally find these, you will actually find 3 sets of cables. You would have a cable coming from the consumer unit or coming from the last light fitting to have been done. So that gives you your live neutral and your power source. You then have the second cable that would be running to the actual light fitting. And then if there was another light to be done after this one, there would be a third cable that you would put in one of those 3 connections to get your live neutral and earth again. And then that cable you would run off to the next light fitting that you're going to in the house. And this whole process just gets repeated. So say the reason there's only 2 here is that this must have been the last light to be wired up on the ground floor. So there's no need for that third wire because there wasn't another light fitting to go to. That's just a very brief sort of description of how this works. You'll find better videos on YouTube if you really want to delve in and how the wiring goes. Okay guys, I've just got the little junction box on. So you can just punch holes through these. You can get proper grommets. I have got them actually. If it's a bit more somewhere, I thought the weather was going to get to it, but these were indoors. It gets a little bit damp in here, but it's not actually like exposed to the water. You do get some proper little connectors in here that make it watertight. This is actually a bit of a cheap box, this one. It's only about £1 odd, but I normally get a bit better quality than that. But Screwfix were sold out and Toolstation seem to be sold out, apart from the Cheap and Cheerful. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these wires down a little bit just to make a little bit more room in there. I could manage. The main thing to give you flexibility is always trim the outer grey cable. That's what makes it kind of stiff and awkward. If you take that off, so you're mostly left just with the strands, then it's a lot more flexible when you're trying to, if it is a bit of a tight space, not such a problem this time round. And I'm going to use these lever connectors. So these are very handy, no screws involved. These are just like push fit, and then you shut the little levers down. Alright. Not getting the best view here, so push your cable in, and then you just snap the lever shut, and that clamps down on the cable. So these are handy. Forget what brand these are like, but these ones were fairly cheap from Screwfix. So that makes it easy. I'll have 3 sets of wires by the time I put the light fitting in there. So get one of these, put all your light fittings in one, all your neutral in the other, all the earth in the other one, and that's just nice, simple, neat, no messing about with screwdrivers or anything. So that's my next stage, not far off completion. Okay, daylight still, but already I can see this is going to be crazy bright in here, so going to be ideal for working on the bike. But even in daylight, you see how crazy bright it is. They are all well and truly lit up. I'll do this at night time, obviously. I opted to have it more up the far end on account of, obviously, I've got a glazed door here. Aesthetically, it's not fantastic, obviously, because it's kind of overhanging. A 6 foot of one would have sort of went from beam to beam, but end of the day, it's an outhouse. So I'm not that fussed about how it looks, more how bright it's going to be, and that is going to make working on the bike in here loads easier. So turn that on. Little lamp back in. Got the wiring in place. You see with those connector blocks, they really are a good thing, them, rather than messing about with screw terminals. Come in all different sizes. You can get doubles, triples, 4, even 5 in a row, depending on what it is you're doing. So highly recommend them, and they're relatively cheap if you don't go for the top branded like Wago. This wire I've just left dangling for the moment till I'm 100% sure I'm going to be happy with how I'm going to have it, and I think pretty well I already made my mind up that'll be ideal there, but I will check at night time, and then I'll cut that down and tidy that up. So job pretty well done, nice and simple. So cheap and cheerful light, but in something like an outhouse or a garage or something, no, it's ideal, and that is like plenty light. I can tell in the daylight already how much brighter that is. But I shall do a little test tonight when it's dark to see exactly how good it looks. So not a very informative video, obviously it's a bit hard when you're messing about screwing up high and fitting lights and stuff, but I'll just give you an overview and I'll just have an idea of how good the light fitting is. Just shy of £25. Seems really good. Got a year's guarantee to it, so hopefully should last a lot longer than that. Being in an outhouse, it's not like it's going to be on all the time. The one I've got in the kitchen, that was also a lap fitting. That's probably about a year, maybe a little over, and that one's still working fine. So I know with the lap, with that outside security lights, a lot of people slag them off because they tend to get water ingress in them. So I wouldn't advise buying a security light from some of the videos I've seen, but something like this, and for £25 you get a year and a half out of it. Not the end of the world, but hopefully it'll last longer than that. Right, apart from the little view tonight, that's the video done. So it's been a little bit of interest to you. Catch you later. Well, thought I'd just do a quick look at how bright my outhouse light is. So say for a single standard kind of pendant bulb, really can't grumble. That does knock out a lot of light for what it is, but I see now at dark time when you haven't got the light coming in, then you're down here actually kind of working on the bike. It is a little bit dark, not the end of the world, but I've got a feeling the new light is going to be a pretty big improvement. Get both ends. We'll check out the difference tomorrow. I imagine it's going to be significantly better. Okay, the nighttime test of the new 4-foot LED light. Ooh, crazy bright. This might not show up as well on camera as it does for real, but it is a lot brighter. I remember when I looked at the wheel yesterday, it was considerably darker down here than that is. But yeah, that is a really big improvement. I'd say that's got to be a lot, at least double what it was yesterday. So on the whole, I'm glad I've gone to the trouble of doing that. Straightforward enough job, and yep, that has made this room extremely bright. So something like for the garage outhouse, the light's fine, it looks okay. So you can tell it's not the most expensive light in the world. You maybe wouldn't stick it in your kitchen or something, but for this sort of application, absolutely fine. It is IP65 rated as well, so it could be out somewhere where it potentially could get hit with rain or whatever, and it would stand up to it. So on the whole, a decent light fitting. We shall see how long it lasts in the long run, but I say it's the same brand that I've got in my kitchen, which is definitely going to be over a year old now. So yep, a job worth doing, I think. So if you're just looking for something cheap and cheerful for your garage, I would recommend that one. You'll find it at Screwfix. Right, that's it for this time. Catch you again another time.